Going on, everybody? This is State of Exile episode 31, and it's called Uber Nugi because we have the TheUberElite and Nugi back, and we're happy to have you guys on board. Thanks for coming. Alright, so today's discussion's mainly going to be covering beta with a little bit of the Flashback Race talk in between, but also we want to do kind of like a special episode where we have a little bit more Q&A than we normally do. So the way how the Q&A works is, at any point in time during the show, guys, you can ask a question directed at ZiggyD, and he'll copy and paste it here into our little notepad, and we'll gladly answer it at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, so let's kick things off. You know, what's everyone been up to right now? Uber, what have you been doing right now in the beta?
Well, after the last wipe, I've mostly been working on trying to get an Ellie Cleave build working, because after playing around with Null's Inclination, I kind of realized that there's been some interesting things with the auras being changed and all, and a lot of people were like, you know, how are you running Double Herald, 2 auras, and Clarity all at the same time? And I've been kind of trying to work on making the non-crit elemental builds work again, because with the reduced mana cost of Clarity now, you can actually run the skills off of your mana even if you have only 10% of it left, and it takes way less of your life now. So that's most of what I've been working on.
Good old Ellie Cleave, damn.
Yeah.
Did you play any of the Flashback League?
I did a little bit, and most of it I was just trying to, get going on the initial rush to get to maps and all of that. And then I died to a server flatline, so that kind of...
Oh, man. Ruined it.
And I had the potential to play Null's Inclination on the beta, so I was like, yeah, I'm just going back to beta.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I watched you playing some Null's Inclination. It just seems like such a... The idea of killing something with a bow to summon things, it just seems so split in terms of... I don't know. I hate things that you're like speccing passives and stuff to do something that's not directly synergistic with the other thing you're trying to do. I don't know, it frustrates me, but it looked like it was working really legit despite that sort of like natural anti-synergy.
Yeah, it's a very complicated synergy in the end. There's a lot of things that are synergizing with other things, and it's
that
really
you wouldn't
complicated.
expect, right?
Yeah.
If you guys
Things that
are...
weren't-
Oh, sorry, Uber.
Things that just weren't possible before. Go ahead.
What I was going to say, in case you guys are wondering what we're discussing, it's a unique bow that when you kill a target, it will use whatever summon spell you have linked in your bow. And Uber had Summon Raging Spirit as well as Animate Weapon. If you'd like to go into further detail on how it worked, it was pretty goddamn awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about it, but it was basically you were running 4 auras. Well, 3 auras or 4. I was kind of switching between. I ended up preferring Double Herald with 2 auras to support minions, since your minions don't get your heralds. But I was particularly running Animate Weapon because they scale elemental auras so well, and I was running SRS because, well, it really helps clean up like all the leftover mobs when you're missing like that one mob, when you're not one-shotting the entire pack. It's a little bit of extra damage, and it really, like, I had my old Animate Weapon, which, if people in here have watched Build of the Week, I had my original Animate Weapon Summoner, which also scaled off Elemental, and really it's the build has a lot of single target through you, and the summons tend to scale your single target really well. So
Did you have any problems when you played the spec, like with the attack speed of the bow being a little bit slower, or because it only has chaos damage?
it was a little bit low on the damage at first, but as I got better gear, and once I realized I could run Clarity on my life and use mana regen to sustain, plus I had a mana on hit jewel, it got a lot easier once I was able to replace the blood magic with faster attacks.
Oh, okay.
And I also had Culling Strike in my actual attack, so I could make sure that I kill. Because if my summons kill the mob, it doesn't actually count. It doesn't summon stuff. So
actually getting that thing 6-linked and then hoping to get Culling Strike on the weapon would be insane for the actual spec.
Well, you don't need it. You don't actually need it 6-linked. You can actually get a free link because you can put Flesh Offering in the bow. It counts as a minion spell. And
yeah, I saw it constantly casting when you were killing stuff.
It was so insane with the legacy cannibalistic habits because every time you kill something, just 4% life, 4% life, 4% life. It was just
wow.
Yeah.
What was the minions you were running? Like, you used animated weapon, but what else?
And summon raging spirits.
Have you tried skeletons after the buff?
It got wiped before they got buffed, so I wasn't able to try it. The problem is mostly that it would probably hit the cap, and you would just be stuck in this like skeleton animation coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, killing too fast.
Yeah.
That's sucky.
So your bow is 5-linked, and then you had the extra link just for your what the heck is it?
Just for Flesh Offering.
Flesh Offering, and then what was it? SRS and Animate Weapon with Multi-Strike, Wed, and Melee Splash?
Multi-Strike, Wed, oh, actually, no, not Wed, because Wed doesn't work on SRS. It was minion damage.
Because they don't have a weapon.
Minion damage, Multi-Strike, and Melee Splash. And I swapped in Increased Duration in change for the other gems just because I was experimenting, and I really couldn't figure out which one I liked best. But all 3 of those red gems are pretty good.
I'm excited someone actually found a build, because when I first saw it, when we first saw that, I was like, this thing sucks. But I'm glad there's some good builds out there.
I knew people would play with it, but I was surprised when I saw how well it was working for Uber. How unusual it was, but how well it was working. Because it's definitely edgy. It's super edgy build.
Yeah.
So Nugi, what were you up to recently? I think you did pretty good on a 1-month race recently, huh?
Well, I've done a lot of things. It's been back and forth with beta and 1 month. So on the 1 month, I started out Cyclone. Did pretty well. Just tried to pretty much get ready for the whole triple beyond thing, and it never came. So that was kind of sad. Yeah, me and Reyes had we had some good synergy going with him doing like double vault haste and hatred, and I just ran my triple purities. So I would buff all of his SRSs with my purities so they wouldn't die in the melee, and he would buff me, and we would just... It went really well. So that was nice to see that you could actually just pretty much face tank anything. That was a good experience. Then I died. to my own little mistake.
Well, both of you died actually. So
yeah.
Oh, what?
He died to desync.
Last time I was watching, because I was away for like 5 days or something. Last time I was watching, you guys were crushing it, and then you died while I was away. That happens though. It seems to be the league for it. Did you die during the double shenanigan, or during the everything shenanigans?
Yeah, but I died because I forgot. Yeah, I was playing an Ellie weakness map and I killed myself.
Ellie Reflect, you mean, right?
Oh, Ellie Reflect. Yeah. So that was that. Then I did the beta. I've been doing a lot of beta. I tried out I tried the totems after they buffed those. Got the new totem crit node wave cluster thing. So whenever you put down a totem, you get 100% global crit. So that's really cool. That helped a lot. And then I did... Right now I'm doing an Incinerate with no mana cost and RF, which is working really well.
Oh, Incinerate got buffed again, or did it get fixed, rather?
Fixed.
And is its damage making up for what GMP would have had in like a shotgun, or?
No, but I think they buffed the damage by around. They pretty much doubled the damage, and with the changes to LMP, it's not too bad because it doesn't really take away the damage too much. And then just with the RF and everything coming on top of that, you still have like a lot of damage. I think I have 40k right now.
Oh, wow.
At stage 4 with LMP.
Are you still
Yeah.
Are you still using slower prod for single target?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you take out LMP and you put in slower prod, and you pretty much
swapping them.
Yeah. It gives you 50% more damage, and then you have around the same amount of damage as you had before, with like maybe not GMP levels, but close to it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the LMP change is really good, but it's like it feels so awkward playing skills that like you normally shotgun, like playing freeze pulse, when you always have to have your cursor really close to your character in order for the multi-prot to actually spread out. I really don't like that playstyle anymore, and I'm glad you actually found a way to make Incinerate good.
You have to be a little bit more active with swapping out gems or have a single target or something like to amplify your single target damage. But I think that's good. I think that's good for the game. Just having something that's not all one button.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like Glacial Cascade was.
Yeah. A lot of skills
I was theorizing that
Hmm?
Incinerate would probably become even better AoE than what it was, AoE clear than what it was previously.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good to know. Good to hear. I was hoping that would be the case. So
Because
now
you have like with like 100 prod speed on the edges, you get like insane damage because it doesn't matter which of the ones you're hitting with. So like when you hit the edge of the screen with just one projectile, it does like the full damage. Which is pretty insane.
So you get the full use of all your range. Sweet. That's pretty good to hear then. I'm glad it's working well now after they fixed the bug. I was going to test it, so glad to hear you already have. Because I've been playing Incinerate on the Flashback League myself. I've never played it before. It was my first time ever playing. And I was blown away, man, by this skill. I was like, people always said it was strong, but I just didn't fully grasp. It was exceptionally just fun having so much single target damage on a decent AoE. Like, it definitely doesn't have the clear speed of other skills or other setups, but just in terms of like investment to power, it felt like it reminded me of playing old Snapshot of Righteous Fire, just like with the feeling of power you get for efficiency, like for such little investments. Like, I spent 2 AUX and I have 45k DPS, and it's just like, you just melt single targets. Oh man, it's so satisfying. Just warping onto a boss with 3 stacks and unleashing and burning him down instantly. But yeah, and you can build so tanky, like it's such an easy and fun skill to build for, so...
Yep, needs very little damage, and it's hilarious when you're fighting like the exiles that charge in on you. You're like, come on, let's go. Charge in on me, and they just melt instantly. Or leapers that jump on you, melt instantly.
Yeah, melt before they can land. Yeah. So I was, I can't believe I didn't play it earlier, man. Probably would have played it more times if I had have. Maybe that's a good thing then. I might have been stuck playing in the loop of playing Incinerate all the time. But yes, so I was playing some Incinerate, abusing the shotgunning action for the last time before it gets removed. And then it's perfectly ironic then that I actually died yesterday to, I think Nugi was there, that's why he's giggling, to a shotgunning Voidbearer. So I killed everything shotgunning and died to shotgunning. Now, I did have Arctic Armor, so I shouldn't have died to this, but I forgot to re-enable my Arctic Armor after just leaving a Zana mission, and I was standing on shocked ground and got bursted down by a Beyond Voidbearer that spawned with 4 additional projectiles. So, that was pretty good.
Rip.
It was a good
job, game. It was a good highlight of...
Yes.
It was a good highlight of like the power of shotgunning from the player perspective, but also the spiky damage that is in the game because of spell shotgunning from a receiving point of view. So that was good, man. It's been nice on the beta playing around and feeling like the game is much more reactive. Like there's a lot less of that instant spike damage, because that was like that death. I was just kind of like, oh, I'm dead. didn't even realize, like didn't have a second to react. So.
That's not gonna happen again though, on beta.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you, people are gonna die to the tornado shot guys from physical damage over and over again.
There's definitely a lot of stuff in at least Act 4 that is like that. The puncture mobs with the Leocast mobs standing next to them and the tornado shotters, and the
Go ahead.
The new Devourer things that pop up their tails, and the whole pack surrounds you and cages you in.
Those tornado shotters, like I was playing on a character, I was in Cruel, like 2200 life, good defenses, and it was a sub fizz pack, and I just insta died, just full to dead, and it was like, what the hell just happened? Those things hurt. Oh my god.
I mean, even just those, but like, I also went into an 80 map before the last wipe, and it was just an extra cold map, and I ended up putting Beyond on it because chat decided, everybody's like, do beyond, and I ended up getting one shot by a Flicker Striker from 5,000 life
Jeez.
Whoa.
Them sword
in an
bros.
80 map.
Question, do you guys know if mobs gaining frenzy charges actually gives them a more multiplier too now? Or did
so.
they not change it for
I
monsters?
have to imagine so.
I actually have no idea. I do know they have separate stats because they gain more out of endurance charges and frenzy charges and all that than we do. So
Could be even more powerful.
they should have a separate stat for it.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, shared boon, is it going to be even more lethal now with these frenzy charge changes? Things like that. I'm like actually very scared of fighting, but we don't have any confirmation. Maybe that's something we should ask the support, get an answer from.
Yeah.
I might be able to actually find out. So
Mr. Data Miner here. So beta overall seems pretty good. What I'm messing around with right now is I'm using the hook swords. They changed the implicit on them from increased global defenses, which, let's be honest, was pretty crap, to flat dodge chance, 2%, 2%, and 3%. And me and my evasion characters, I'm running around with a ton of evasion, a ton of dodge, and I'm really excited to see the changes with it. They also added a dodge jewel, and it's possible to get dodge cap now in the game without Val Grace, and that's never been done before. So I wonder how strong it'll actually be when it goes live. I'm messing around with Ice Crash and the newly improved Reeve, which is just stupid strong right now, and I'm sure everyone here has a lot to talk about with that. But in case you guys don't know or do not have beta, Reeve now stacks 4 times instead of 8, and instead of giving 15% more per stack, it gives 30. So it does the same thing at 4 stacks as what it did at 8, but now you just get stacks quicker. And it also won't drop anymore when you use another skill, and it also lasts longer than it did before. So Reeve is in like the biggest QOL satisfying mode it's ever been. What do you think, Nugi? What's your thoughts on Reeve right now?
Well, I think Reeve is just it's just I don't know. They just bumped it to being the one skill if you go dagger or a claw or anything of that sort, especially for crit based, because there are not many skills out there to actually to use with a dagger, claw, or whatever. So I think it's just like it's the best skill right now for that. Like they made it so it's like the quality of life changes, so you can actually whirling blades in between is huge.
Oh yeah.
Because you get mobility in between, which is something you never had. Before it was just like have 2 quicksilvers and then just keep up your stacks, and just make sure they never fall off.
Something too is you can go crit swords now, one-handed swords. So now you can use leap slam as well with Reeve in between. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain swords that actually have higher crit than like ambushers now.
Yeah, 6.5 on foils.
Yeah.
The 1.3s.
Is ambusher now?
6.2?
Yeah, 6.2.
Oh, wow.
What?
They
Damn.
nerfed ambusher pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It seems they're balancing out all the different weapon types, so they're like in line with each other. It's just like different mechanics that you can like play around with. You can either go full crit, you can go leech, you can go dodge.
Yep.
I like that.
And the cool thing about hook swords is they're really slow. Like the one I'm using right now is like 1.15, which is perfect for Ice Crash. You want that slow ass weapon because all the negative attack speed modifiers, and you can't use multi-strike. So I just walk up to a pack, just smack it once, go to the next one. And speaking of Ice Crash, I think that's at least the intent of the skill I get, where the goal is to pretty much one-shot a pack. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. And I don't know. What's your take on that, Uber? Ice Crash right now.
Ice Crash is definitely feeling like it's one of those skills that's meant to be used with slow weapons. Like, in the past, you had like Leap Slam and Sweep because those were weapons that didn't scale off of your attack speed, and they fixed that now. But we have this like really slow but high damaging weapon, or skill rather, that it feels like it's meant to just be really high damage, and it's pretty interesting so far. I've actually tested 3 different skills on this elemental cleave build I've been doing. I've done cleave. I've actually done Ice Crash with it, and I've also checked Reeve with it. Now, it also feels like it's meant to be used with the slower weapons because it has such a high base mana cost. Like right now, my cleave is a base mana cost of 9, and Ice Crash is 16. So it's like, it's a lot of mana. I can't sustain it with just my clarity right now, but it actually does quite a bit of damage, and then it's both Reeve and Ice Crash are making me worried about the state of cleave right now. It just feels kind of useless.
It feels pretty dead.
Yeah.
Rip.
I mean, I'm getting like 11,000 DPS dual wielding, and by the way, something else about that is that it only uses your main hand, much like Ground Slam. So there's something to be explored there as well, I think.
I like skills that do that. That give you options to build cleverly with weapon setups.
The thing, too, about Cleave right now is that you get all these new skills coming out that have such free AoE, and Cleave's like, AoE is so tiny. If they increase the AoE on it, it'd be much more playable. You know, give it what a 2-stack of Reeve is, or even a 1-stack of Reeve is, and it would feel so much better. But Ice Crash is like... The beginning stages of Ice Crash is more AoE than Cleave can even get in the game, probably, with a ton of AoE. So I think it's a big problem.
That might be the answer for it, to make it a larger AoE, much wider as well, something like that. I don't know. Someone asked me yesterday on stream, actually, pretty relevant to this discussion, how I felt about Sweep compared to Ice Crash. The idea that Ice Crash just seems like a better version than Sweep. You know, similar idea, like an AoE around your character almost. To Sweep, obviously, but just straight up better than it pretty much in every way. Now, obviously, Sweep has some interesting different mechanics. Like it's got knockback, and you can use multi-strike and stuff with it, so you can go helicopter mode if you want. But my answer was kind of, I don't actually mind if they eventually, after a skill that's been out for years, like Sweep is one of the earliest skills in the game. If they put an interesting new skill in the game that is really interesting, like Ice Crash, and then it just kind of like, makes it's just better than Sweep. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that idea that new skills get added that are just better than old skills? Well, at least for a while.
Well, some of them have different mechanics. Like you have this whole physical to ice conversion that makes it really awkward in like cold resistant maps. So, and I mean, Ice Crash works with face breakers, but scaling elemental damage on a face breaker build, you don't have access to weapon elemental, so it's like, well, what do I do here? And it does also enable the whole physical to elemental stuff, which can, that has its own set of like requirements to it, like having to use a life leech gem as well, since you no longer have physical leech. But I mean, mechanically, it still is a different skill. I don't know that it's entirely better. It seems like it does more damage, but more damage doesn't always mean it's a better skill in the end.
And something about Sweep too is it has remember, Ice Crash has a less 25% attack speed modifier and no multi-strike. Sweep is only -10, but it does have the damage effectiveness it once did. They made it just 100 now instead of 80 at one point, or 90, and it has knockback too, so you can use the new Empire Grass gloves, so you can vortex them in. I don't know.
What's the damage effectiveness of Sweep? It's like 85%, right?
It's 100 now. It's flat 100.
Okay, so it's flat 100.
Yeah.
But even then, okay, when you look at something like Ice Crash, I think Ice Crash comes in and it fits perfectly well in the new meta.
Yep.
Because you can't keep looking back. Like you just have to look at the current set of skills that are out there, and it has to match. Because if it doesn't, it just falls off completely and nobody's going to play it. And you don't want to introduce a new skill if that happens, right?
Nope.
So Sweep has if that's 100% base damage, well, you can use multi-strike, well, whoop-de-doo, it's still 100%. Where even with the less multiplier you start at like, I don't know, like 120 multiplier on Ice Crash, I think, when you add those two together. And that's a lot better, like getting 20% more damage of a skill with a better AoE and a better, it's just overall it's just mechanically better. So
So, do you think that's a problem that they just do you think they should not introduce a skill if it's going to be mechanically better than an old skill?
No, because it's just that. Well, it's maybe mechanically equal to sweep if you brought up the numbers on sweep.
The thing about Ice Crash too is it's like you have all these new skills coming out, and for a while they were just like, well, this skill sucks. You know, like Storm Call. You know, all these skills you're like whatever, and it's nice and refreshing to have a skill that's like feels strong. Instead of slowly getting buffed to be a contender, I'd rather them release a skill that's like, holy crap, this is amazing, and then work from there.
That's been their strategy, hasn't it? Always to release skills a bit undertuned and then buff them up.
Yep.
Seems like that's been the theme for quite a while.
I feel like it's turned around a bit. It's overpowered, and then they tone it down recently.
I feel like there was a time where everything was underpowered and they would buff it up after like a week or so.
Yeah.
Actually, on that note, they did buff Sweep's radius last patch, so...
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, they are bringing it back. Like they are looking at it like it's just underpowered compared to everything else, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, my stance on it is that I think it's fine to introduce a new skill that just, at least for a short time, is strictly better than another skill, or is, you know, for most people just better than another skill, especially if it does have different mechanics. Like, it's ignoring the fact that Sweep still does have different mechanics, like its knockback, and it can work with multi-strike and stuff like that. So you can do other things with it, like you guys were saying, Empire's Grasp and stuff. So it does open up other options. And then there's always room for Sweep to come back and for them to, you know, go back and look at it. All right, now that we've got another skill that's kind of like the better circle AoE around your character, what can we do to make Sweep more interesting rather than just kind of like bringing the numbers up to make it the same as Ice Crash? That's kind of, I think it'll be like a nice competition that promotes good design for redesigns of old skills.
Mm-hmm.
To make a more interesting skill in the game.
I think the most satisfying thing about Ice Crash is usually we have these skills with like a 2-part attack. Ice Crash has that too, but unlike Static Strike and Molten Strike, the damage feels a lot more instant with Ice Crash. You just slam the ground and boom, damage. You don't really have to wait. The secondary part, you don't even really notice it either. Static Strike, you have to hit the target, which requires you to hit. Ice Crash doesn't. You just smash the ground like Ground Slam.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I can't play Static Strike. It doesn't matter how strong it is, just because you have to actually target the mobs. I hate that, man. I hate that in action RPGs. But being able to slam the ground, so good.
Yep.
I was actually talking to Nugiyen about this last night, and Static Strike does have an advantage to it that it's like it's kind of like Tornado Shot, where it doubles as both a single target and an AoE though. So, again, there's more mechanics to it, and as far as I know, you can't shotgun with Ice Crash. I might be wrong on that.
No.
I don't think
I understand it's like three different cones like cascading outwards that doesn't overlap.
Yep.
Isn't that?
Yeah, I've had mixed on this. Like, I was under the impression that if you hit with one of them, you actually can't ever hit with the other ones. But other people are saying that if you knock them back from the edge of it onto like the third ring, you can actually hit them. But I don't know.
My take on it is just one shot
to the other. Oh, is it coming in?
My take on it is, if you're trying to spec around, seeing if you can knock them back into the second one, you're doing it wrong. Like, just one shot them. It does so much damage. Work on that rather than work on the knockback portion.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't shotgun with it at all.
So. No.
Because otherwise you would actually see it even if you didn't have knockback, because monsters' hitboxes aren't just one pixel. They're going to be standing on multiple parts.
Yeah, I've never seen a mob take 2 chunks of damage from it. It's always just the one.
Yep.
How cool does this skill look though with unarmed? Like, I don't even have a Faith Breakers, and I took off my weapon just to watch me just like slam the ground and punch it like a badass.
Yep.
It looks
like
so
sick. It's like some sort of Thor sort of thing, slam the ground. It's awesome.
We need that Chris Wilson. We need that Chris Wilson banhammer gif right now. That's what it looks. That's probably what it feels like.
Oh my god.
Or a microtransaction skin banhammer.
The Witch is hilarious with it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ziggy.
You're right. I was gonna say I kind of want to talk about like the skills mechanics a bit more, because I feel like it's such a well-designed skill. Like, mechanically, I love the idea that it has a large amount of AoE just off the bat that you can, if you want to sort of play a little bit safe, you can hit them with the edge ring and sort of do that, and then you'll penalize damage, but it's still pretty good damage. But you know, if you do go into melee range, if you do get right up and in someone's face and hit them with that small initial AoE, then you are dealing a lot more extra damage. I love that design of making the damage more effective, like the more melee you are. So it's like if you took Reeve and made it, you know, if you're in melee, you were dealing more damage. Now I don't think that would be fun for Reeve, but for this skill, I think it feels very good. It feels very manly, encouraging you to get up into melee and do that.
Hell yeah. Fuck, it's about time. Like, you know, like you have all these face breaker skills that just feel like meh. You know, oh, cool, frenzy, elemental hit, you know? And now you get this manly skill where you just punch the ground, not to mention use it with a two-hander, and one-shot the entire screen. And with the changes to Herald of Ash, it actually makes Herald of Ash feel good again. You know, whatever you don't finish, the Herald of Ash can finish off for you.
Yeah.
There's another part of it too. Go ahead.
I like what you're saying with the whole going in close and being manly, because if you go back a while in terms of how has melee skills been used over the time, everyone's always been getting max AoE and just like killing things on the edges, you know, not really being an AoE. Now you actually benefit by going next to the monster and slamming the ground. That's something that's actually not in any other skill, except for like the ones that are forced into melee to actually activate the skill. But every other AoE skill has been just hit it on the edges.
I mean, Freeze Pulse kind of had that, so the design has been there in Freeze Pulse. But
that's true. Yeah,
I really like the way it's on this skill.
I mean, like, you're not like just hitting things really far away from you and still calling it melee. You're getting up and close, and I mean, even that, it's like with the whole face breaker thing, getting up and close. You know, we had lockstep just put in, and one of the worst things about playing face breakers is that you actually had to walk up to the mob and you actually had to hit it like head on. And with desync in place, like more often than not, it wouldn't be you desync that starts the desync. It would actually be the mob that's desynced, and you try and run up to it, but it's actually on the other side. So your character is running all the way around the pack to the other side, or trying to run through the pack, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of it doing nothing.
Yep.
So
it's like Old Cyclone. Old Cyclone.
Oh god.
Yeah, the biggest changes to lockstep is for melee. I feel like well, I'm not sure if they fixed Flicker Strike yet, but for the most part, you know, usually when you target a monster, if he's not actually there, you're screwed if you're melee and you teleport to a spot you've never even been before. But now with the lockstep changes, it's like melee feels so good, and then Fortify, and then Ice Crash, it just never ends.
The funny thing with my chat pointed out is with lockstep, you can actually really notice now that if you swing at the air with a single target attack, and a mob walks into the exact radius of that single target attack, where it would be if you were targeting it normally, you will actually hit it. I've never noticed that before. Like that, the fact that it's like mechanically there's actually a little AoE at the end of your swing where you're actually hitting the target. And now with lockstep, you can actually kind of swing and have a mob walk into melee range and then get hit by it. I'm like, wow, man. Jeez, it seems like such a little thing, but it was just kind of cute to notice that. I'm like, wow, I had no idea melee's attacks did that.
So, something we haven't really brought up that it wasn't even in the primer, so surprise to all you guys. Blood Rage changes.
Oh.
Noogie, have you messed around with the new Blood Rage changes at all?
Yeah. I figured out that it's completely unusable with ZI.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why they did that, but
I can understand it because, like, Blood Rage in general is just one of those skills that are... I don't like the mechanics behind it, because it's you put it on your bar, you activate it, and then you never think about it again, and then you get the charges. I think it wasn't a problem before, but with now with the kind of power that comes to the charges, it's I don't like that mechanic. I don't mind it going from Chaos to Fizz. It does take away the CI portion, but it doesn't change anything for, like, it doesn't really change anything. Like end game, sure, it's a little less powerful for like the melee builds that could just stack Chaos as before, but for anything else it kind of stays the same. But it's I don't know. I think it's fine with the changes. I don't think that's. I'm not too riled up about that. I'm more about like the Blood Rage overall that I worry about.
I think the frenzy charges mostly.
Oh, free frenzy charges for everyone but CI now, and it was the opposite before. What?
No, I don't think it was the opposite before at all.
Well, yeah, if you end game, if you had
it's
the
just
Chaos
not worth
Res,
it before.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it exactly.
Yeah.
The changes to Blood Rage, if you guys were wondering, instead of dealing chaos damage over time, it's now physical damage. And the damage is not mitigated by armor, but it is mitigated by endurance charges, soul steal,
Immortal Call.
Immortal Call, things like that. Or you could just get 4% regen, which seems to be the staple for most people. Just get 4% regen, forget about it kind of thing. The problem is, as CI before, you were immune to the chaos damage, which means that your energy shield recharge start was able to happen, but you can't do that with CI anymore because you're constantly taking damage. And with the change to the energy shield recharge time going down to 3 seconds at default, this is actually a nerf to CI. And I understand the thought process where nobody gets something for free kind of thing, where before CI was like use Blood Rage no matter what build you are, unless you're like a summoner. And now it's quite the opposite, where it's like, I don't know, if your build needs energy shield recharge start for CI, I think you're doing it wrong, but I don't know.
I don't know if I agree on that.
You should have enough leech though to sustain your ES as is, but it was nice in between.
CI?
Yeah, that's true. Double totem or summoner.
The problem also is that, like, if you can't recharge your ES, you don't have potions for that. You only have Val Discipline to restore it. If you get in a problematic situation, you can't run out of the room and wait for your ES to recharge anymore. It's just going to be stuck there at that point, and you're not going to go in with like 20% of your ES left. You have to either portal out or log out, and there's no other way around it. So
True.
It's inefficient, really. If you have to leave, then suddenly you're losing time clearing, and it just becomes a hassle.
I don't know. What do you think, Ziggy, about the Blood Rage changes?
I think that if any melee build now that goes into a duelist at least, and pretty much any bow build is going to run Blood Rage. Like, the investment is pretty low, and the power of frenzy charges, at least in the current iteration, is very strong. And I kind of touched on this a bit in previous podcasts. The idea that I really like now that frenzy charges are actually worth getting, but at the same time, I worry for like the longer term, like in a couple months' time, whether we feel too shoehorned into always getting like, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna run frenzy charges on this character, or like, I gotta go get couple points of regen. I feel like at right now you can even if you only have like 3% regen, the life leech kind of is enough to counteract it for most builds, as long as you're clearing at a decent pace, which is what you always want to be doing anyway. So it feels like it might have too much reach. Like I feel like maybe every build might be running Blood Rage now. Every attack based build might be running Blood Rage, and that concerns me a little bit. With the exceptions. I don't know. How do you guys feel like that? I feel like maybe the impact will be a little too much.
Yeah. Like, frenzy charge has been crap for so long, and now they're freaking awesome. And
yeah,
now,
I'm psyched about that, right?
Yep.
But
now there's
I'm
Blood Rage
like
buffs.
Thinking longer term.
I think Nugi should talk about the frenzy charges on Blood Rage.
Well, I just think I don't like the fact that you get the frenzy charges of Blood Rage. I just think I think that's the issue. It's just that it's too easy. Whenever you would get a power charge, because every time you've done a crit build, and there's been so many crit builds done, it's like, how do I maintain my my power charges? If you just had a buff you could put on yourself and you would just gain them for free,
yeah,
like it would be way too easy. And it's kind of the same thing we're in now.
Yep.
So it's like I feel this just shows it's too easy to get the frenzy charges, because you had to like either had to waste like a power charge and crit, or you had to curse and kill to gain a power charge.
Yep.
Or you have to use endurance charge on melee stun, or enduring cry even, which that's fine.
Yeah,
I agree
makes
with
a lot
the
of sense, because frenzy charges were like not really good enough before for it to be a problem. And there wasn't many ways of getting frenzy charges, but now there's more ways of getting them as well, and they're much more powerful. I agree with you, Nugi. So what would you want to see out of Blood Rage as a buff then? It seems likely that, a damage attack speed buff or something like that.
Yeah.
With the leech, which is already kind of a part of it.
like you could have it scale with frenzy charges as well if you want to keep something like that in there as well. Like there's that, I don't know, like I haven't thought it to the next step. What do you do with blood rage then? You could probably think of some really cool mechanics. Like it's like you enrage in blood, and I don't know, so it has to do something with leech and some kind of enrage. I don't know how you want to apply that to the game. That's not for me to decide. That's what they could like figure out, some cool mechanic, but I don't know.
Like, give it a separate stacking buff on kill.
Yeah.
The idea that you're like
Yeah.
bathing your enemy's blood and becoming enraged.
Like, or one of those, you know, they have the mechanic damage while leeching. You could get attack speed and damage while leeching per frenzy charge or something like that to keep it, you know, in line with something related to frenzy charges. My personal idea was, well, they're bringing back phase run at some point, at least they've said, and I feel like if you're gonna remove the frenzy charge from it, which I actually agree that the getting the frenzy charges is a little bit too easy with it. I think it could be moved over to phase run, with some sort of like chance to gain frenzy charge after getting a kill with phase run activated. So. Because it does sort of fit thematically with the build, not the build, the gem phase run, where you're moving faster and you're hitting harder for that moment. So
something to think about frenzy charges too. In the current state of the game, with the exception of Ice Bite now, the only way to get a frenzy charge is on kill. Actually, Ice Bite is, I think it's on kill too, right? You have to shatter.
Yeah.
So everything to do with frenzy charges is gain on kill, with the exception of the gem frenzy.
Yeah.
So it would be cool if there was like some kind of way, like there's 3 skills in the game that automatically will give you the charge. You have Enduring Cry, Power Siphon, and Frenzy. And I
Power
agree.
Siphon's on kill as well.
But you're always going to use that, you know. And I feel that Blood Rage is just, now that they change it, it's just too good. It's way too good. I don't know. Hopefully maybe they'll keep it like this for a bit because Frenzy's been in the shadow for so long. We'll see how it goes because right now it's beta. And things that have been OP in beta have gotten quickly nerfed, like Glacial Cascade. Yep, rip Glacial Cascade.
Ball Lightning too got pretty
Ball Lightning.
nerfed.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Ball Lightning and Glacial Cascade. I kept saying it. I mean, if they didn't change at all, they were going to be the dominant skills.
Yeah.
In Awakening.
I mean, I was fully expecting some sort of changes to them. They're insane, man. They're already good skills and they'll buff so much.
I mean, even with like a chance on kill, like I was using Blood Dance on a build for a while just because of the chance on kill, and like that didn't feel too overpowered because you had the chance to lose frenzy charges. It's possible to lose them because RNG is there, but also with the reduced attack speed per charge, it's only like 1%, so you're only getting more damage per charge basically, and a very tiny amount of cast speed and attack speed. So
That's true.
I don't know.
So with the talk to these new skills, these new what are they called? Caster gems. There we go. They reassessed the local crit on almost, I don't know, I'd say like a good half of these spell gems. Gems for a while that were 4% crit are now as high as 6, like Spark. Lightning Trap, it's got buffed to 5. There's a bunch of new spell crit changes. Heck, even EK, Ethereal Knives, is now 6% crit, which is kind of like, whoa, no one expected that.
Didn't know about that.
Yep.
Oh, baby.
Totems as well. Flame Totem is 5. Shockwave is now 5. They did a great job reassessing spell crit. I'll link it in chat here if people want to see, but what are your guys' personal take? Nugi, what skill that you haven't played yet are you looking forward to playing with the spell crit change?
Well, I'm looking forward to playing a lot of them. I haven't tried Shockwave Totem too much yet. I haven't tried, like, the AoE ones, I haven't tried too much yet. Even, I also want to try, like, Flame Surge. I think that was changed as well. Well, was that only the cast speed or something?
The cast speed's now 0.8, or no, it's 0.5 down from 0.8, which is crazy.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I think it's good. Like there's been a lot of it's very difficult playing crit builds. Like it was with the changes in beta, it made playing crit builds kind of difficult because being in that part of the tree without the whole mom thing going on anymore, and like you have to spec into a few more nodes to get the crit, and it did seem really difficult. So I think this is pretty good. It makes it more viable again. Viable. But no, I've been playing around with EK. It seems it's brought the skill back in line with the others. I wouldn't call it overpowered, but for a crit build, it's really good now. Looking forward to trying Spark on totems as well.
Oh man, totems just seem like in like the best state they've been in a long time, especially with the change to shotgunning. It's like you have that Rain of Splinters gem, which isn't too bad since the nerf. You know, it's like what, minus 30% to 50%.
Yeah.
It's not a less multiplier, so you can kind of make up for that. What I've been messing around with is Lightning Trap and Bear Trap. They went from 4% to 5% crit, and I'm using Ball Lightning Trap as well with that. And my Bear Trap has physical to lightning, and it's kind of like a lightning trapper. And Nugi, a reset before that, I was using the rod, the Agnorod East rod you gave me, with a 20% lightning pen staff. And I had 71% lightning pen, and it was pretty crazy. And then they buffed the crit chance to Lightning Trap and Bear Trap. It's stupid strong right now.
I think it's about time that they buffed the crit chance on lightning. I mean, to me, lightning is a spiky element. Crit only enhances that. There is the inherent drawback of getting a top-end spike on reflect, which is aggravated by crit, which is kind of the drawback to it having high crit chance, I think. The reason they couldn't do it before really was because of shock stacking. Was I think too powerful a mechanic. But that's been gone for quite a while now. I think hell man, it's about time they buff the crit on lightning. I love that lightning is now a high crit chance element. They seem to have kind of just done away with the theme that was around elements before of you know, like ice being high crit and lightning be low crit. Because like they nerfed the crit chance on Glacial Cascade, for example. But it's also the theme just seems to, I think they've just gotten rid of the themes, so they're just like, all right, let's ignore the theming and what makes sense mechanically.
My personal experience with crit casters, I'm really like not too much of a fan of crit casters, just because like you end up with this small amount, like you don't in some cases you don't even end up with over 50 crit chance without applying Assassin's Mark, and it's like, well, I'm only critting half the time. Maybe I might have more consistent damage, which when I played Ice Storm, that ended up being the case. It was more consistent when I didn't go crit, and ended up being actually overall more DPS.
Well, that's because of the way how it scales with int with all that multiplier. But when a spell is 5%, I think it's fine. Honestly, like 6%, it just feels stupid strong, but 5% is no problem, because on a weapon, you can get yourself, you know, if you're using like a Platinum Crit, for example, you roll 100 plus spell crit, it has an 80 spell crit, you could dual wield that. There's a lot easier ways to get spell crit versus regular crit for attacks, in my opinion. So it kind of makes up for that.
I think they want to push, like, if you're going crit, you're not, like, I've always felt that those lower spells kind of ended up, no matter what, kind of being a semi-crit type of thing, even if you're getting 50% instead of, you know, most people's definition, which is like 20 to 25% crit. I still felt like it was semi-crit, and the only spell that really, the spells that could really go to high crit chance were like Ice Spear and Discharge has been nerfed.
Yeah, it's 7 instead of 8, but you could still go crit, no problem with Discharge.
Yeah. I think that it's a good step. I don't know if they're planning on this being permanent, though. I feel like they sometimes push these changes to beta because they want people to test, like, oh, all these things got base crit raised. Because we want people to test crit builds right now. There's not enough people testing crit casters, and we need feedback on that. So it's an indirect way to try and push people towards doing that.
I mean, that's the whole point of a beta.
Yeah, it's exactly the point of a beta.
Yep.
I couldn't do it normally, except for on the alpha with a very small group of people.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Because how many people would get pissed off if, like, they buff the spell crit and then they tone all of that spell crit down, and all of a sudden their build's missing like 2,000 DPS, and they're like, "Oh my god, my build's ruined now." Even though I
Yeah,
only
you can't
lost
make those sort of
5%
sweeping
DPS.
changes on live servers. There'd be so much salt. Infinite salt.
Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about the beta so far is like the past few major patch notes we've received a lot of game changing, which is kind of nerf. The beta has been like a lot of buffs, so it feels really, really good to play. You know, like when Bloodlines came out, it was like this huge block nerf, and you know, oh, looks like I'm playing Flame Blast again, boys. You know, and Prolif is it's definitely changed in the beta, so it's like complete meta shift finally.
I don't know, Zeno. I only play Flame Blast builds, and I haven't gotten many buffs. Except for that 10 Frenzy Charge Flame Blast build. That got buffed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Something Uber and I were talking about earlier is that everything seems to be a more multiplier now. Before everything was increased, so you get so excited like, oh, this is a multiplier now, this is a multiplier now, this is a multiplier now. Before it was like, I'll get a little bit of increased, but I'll really want those multipliers. Now I feel like I don't have enough increased in my build to actually scale those multipliers.
Yeah, when everything's a more multiplier, is anything a more multiplier?
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
You need both of them for the other one to be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I even had that problem in the live servers with my animator build. I realized that I didn't have any increase. I had like nothing but multipliers, because I had base damage, I had weapon elemental, I had all these multipliers that were just multiplying the elemental, but I only had like 35% increase. And I made this entire spreadsheet, and I look at how much a 20 quality weapon elemental damage is going to give me, and that's 10% elemental damage, and it's like a 5% DPS increase for 10% increased damage, and I'm like, what?
One passive node.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What are your take on all the multipliers now, Nugi?
It's I like it. I like it because one of the things the crit always did was it added like a ton of multipliers to all your additive stuff. So that's also why I think they can actually add all this crit now, because you're just getting more multipliers. Now you have like, where are we getting all this additive damage from?
Exactly.
And that's kind of the thing, that it's the non-crit builds will have that, and crit builds a lot of the times do not have too much multiplier.
That's why crit was so popular, because it was one of the few more multipliers you could use.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that. I like that we have multiple ways of scaling damage. I've always hated when I felt like, well, I can get all this additive damage, and then the only ways from here on out to multiply my damage is either crit or low life with like what's that node called?
Pain Attunement.
Pain Attunement. Because I remember like a few years ago, that's like the only way you scale damage. So I'm very, very happy that they're adding like more and more ways of combining different like skills and support gems, and yeah. So I'm very positive.
12% increased physical damage like a year ago was like nothing. Now it's like huge. Getting 12% increased physical damage is so worth it now.
For the right build, it is.
Yep.
So there's a lot more to think about, which is nice.
Yeah. Never forget the old RF when it only scaled off life, and it only degened based off life.
Ugh.
Oh my god. Those were some
RF.
insane damage builds.
Well, overall, what I'm really excited to try out is now Cold Snap is a 5% crit, and playing a crit Cold Snap build before was really hard to do. You needed a Vol's Protector, you need all sorts of silly gimmicky crap, or you just went Resolute Technique with that one ring. What the heck is it called? Ramirez. Yeah, now you can actually you can go Cold Snap crit, and you know, if you're running Power Charger and crit or Vol's Protector or something, you can actually make a pretty damn good build with it being 5% crit.
Yeah.
Changes the way how that skill works. And then Detonate Dead, it can't be reflected anymore. Not that reflects very much of an issue, other than elemental reflect maps. It's also 5% crit too, so you can go crit DD.
But does DD actually scale off spell crit? Because I know it's not spell damage.
And no, it's cast, just like Bear Trap, so you need global crit.
Yeah.
So power charges are probably your main source of crit, and then like the Shadow Tree.
Yeah.
Oh, you can place a totem as well.
Yeah.
Good call, Nugi. That's another free 100%.
Yeah.
free and free. It's 3 points to get
Free,
it, but still.
Yeah. Free is all relative there, but
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting to see the new crit builds that are going to be coming out with, and Stormcall with the lockstep changes. Oh my god.
Ooh.
No more desync Stormcalls. It's 6% crit, and the quality on it is AoE. Stormcall is amazing.
Actually, Stormcall got fixed at the start of beta. The desync Stormcall issue was actually an issue that was fixed. It also fixed the Atziri invisible Stormcalls that were happening to people. Like,
oh, really?
When you
Rad.
log out and you go back in, you just get hit by nothing. Those are actually invisible Stormcalls, apparently, or invisible Flame Blasts. I can't remember which.
Invisible tornadoes too from the library boss.
I don't know if that's fixed.
Is all of that fixed? Like Flame Blast, Stormcalls, and like all the lingering AoE skills, or is it only for the Stormcall?
I'm not sure. I know Stormcall is fixed for that. Like if you're spam casting it, you don't have that. Like after the first explosion, the second explosion ends up being a little bit more delayed, and it becomes more delayed and more delayed and more delayed for the damage to actually apply.
Yeah, I hated that, man. Playing Stormcall so frustrating before.
Yep.
Maybe I'll actually like it now. We'll see.
Yeah, even Neon, a dev, was like, he tried out Stormcall on the live servers, and he was like, "Oh my god, this desync is awful."
Mm-hmm. That was the only reason I didn't play it. Every time I was like, "Oh, this is a really cool skill. Let's play it."
Yeah.
Rage.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Apparently, it's doing a lot of damage, and with the reflect changes, it's super good.
Yeah.
It's just,
look at something like have a cursor in there, like a tri-cursor with the 10 chains, and they never move, and you like always just hit them. Just imagine that. Just imagine the damage you can put down. Oh, woo.
I have been actually wanting to do a Stormcall build, so I'm trying to look into that a little bit more. It seems pretty interesting, the way you can like I had an idea where you put one Stormcall down first that's reduced duration, and then you try and cast with this insane cast speed Stormcall that just explodes this entire line through. So with the desync thing, the desync fixes with it, it should be a much better feeling skill too, and should be interesting.
So with all this gem talk, the new gem vendors got implemented into the game. I really like it.